What's up? What's up, everybody? 2021 is here. A lot of stuff happening.
Outrageous Fun. Season 3.
What's up, everybody?
We are back!
We are back, dude. Wow.
We are back. We are getting Doug back.
How long has it been?
A while.
Has it been a full month?
It feels like
I think it's been a full month now.
That's wild.
It was supposed to be 2 weeks, and it
Yeah.
wasn't. Dude, I have huge astronomical news that affects you directly.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Lilo has been adopted.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Is that directly
Yeah.
affecting me or the
No.
people that have been watching her for...
It's a bit.
And I'm going to put that in
directly
air
affects
quotes,
Frankie.
watching her.
Yeah, well, barely, bro.
Feeding her.
Frankie has texted me multiple times. He's like, hey, so I'm out of food for Lilo. I might have run out 2-3 days ago. I'm like, fucking Jesus, man.
She's got two different food sources. It's the hay and the food.
Yeah,
so.
she hasn't had hay for 2 months, so the hay has been long gone. But yeah, so my bunny got, we adopted her.
I feel like the talks of that were months ago.
It was when I moved. That was when it was supposed to happen. And
When
then
was that?
I couldn't find
That was
anybody
in-
to take her. May 1st.
So you found a buyer, then it fell through.
I found a family to take her, fell through because the whole family got COVID and the mom flaked. Then I found this psychopath from upstate that wanted me to drive to Binghamton to give it to her. There was no shot that was happening. She was
Right.
also insane.
Really? What was she
didn't-
like?
She was like 25.
Okay.
She was a lesbian. That's a detail that kind of comes into play
Is she
here.
dead? Is she a dead
She
lesbian?
is currently a lesbian
Oh,
in a
okay.
partnership with another lesbian.
Cool.
And she told me that her and her partner, neither of them know how to drive. They're 25. They live in upstate New York, not the city.
Okay.
There's no reason to not know how
Yeah.
to drive.
If you're in the city being a lesbian, no need to drive.
Right.
Lesbians upstate.
Lesbians in the city, arguably like a 1% driving capability rate. I feel like
You don't need
arguably they don't drive at all. The population's probably pretty low. If you're born and raised in like a borough and you're
Well,
a
if you're-
lesbian woman, I feel like you're not driving.
I don't know if the lesbian
lesbian
has anything to do with the
has
driving. I was more
nothing to do with
speaking on
it.
the city.
No, the lesbian woman has nothing to do
Right.
with it. I'm just throwing that in just because, like, it's like a detail.
'Cause we're here? Yeah.
Right, we're here. We're back.
Yeah.
So that's a detail I figured I'd throw. But so she couldn't drive. She couldn't afford to take an Uber anywhere. Like, I was like, can you meet me, like, halfway? Like, can you Uber halfway? Like, I'm not driving 6 hours to drop off a rabbit. And she was just like, I can't afford to Uber anywhere. So I was like, so you can't keep a rabbit alive? It was just insane. There was
Maybe
so
they were
many red
saving all their
flags.
funds to keep the rabbit alive.
They were going to eat the rabbit. I don't trust them. I didn't trust them.
They were
as far-
rabbit-eating lesbians in
sound-
the woods?
Oh, that sounded naughty.
Oh.
That sounded naughty. Did you not hear that when you said it? Rabbit-eating lesbians in the woods? You didn't hear that when you said it?
Sounds normal to me. I'm just labeling what you said.
That is. You're right.
I'm putting the title on the story that you're telling.
That was a good headline.
Rabbit-eating lesbians in the woods.
That,
Would you read that book?
Frazzle drip. Yeah, so that fell through. And then this lady hits me up out of nowhere. She called me on like a Saturday morning. It was super early. It was a random number, obviously. And she was just like, hey, are you Joe? I was like, yes. Who are you, though? She's like, oh, I'm looking. I would love to, like, take Lilo off your hands. I have another bunny rabbit. Oh, no, I'm sorry. She goes, you know, Tony's girlfriend died. This is what this woman leads with at 9:30 in the morning on a Saturday. Tony's girlfriend died. He's distraught. And the woman sounds young. She goes, Tony's girlfriend died. He's distraught. Like, he hasn't left the house since she passed away. I need something to distract him. So I want Lilo. She looks adorable. I was like, okay. So now we moved to texting. I was like, yeah, no problem. For sure. Like, I just have a couple questions for you, whatever. I ask whatever questions I ask. Like, can you afford to? Are you gonna eat the bunny? Or can you afford
You
to
had a
feed her?
very through screening process.
Well,
You're
it's
a
my
good dad.
girl.
You're a
Thanks.
good dad.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So
You sold your child, but you're
after
a good
6
dad.
years of ownership, because I was just like not in the mood to have her
Right.
anymore. Yeah, good dad.
You didn't want your apartment to smell like a barn anymore.
Right. Yeah.
You gotta find
it was
yourself a
honestly
wife.
about getting ass. Exactly. It
It is,
which
yeah.
is selfish.
It's
but
not about getting ass, it's about finding true love.
the ass.
Yeah, it's
right.
about finding the ass.
Right. Exactly.
Nice.
Thanks. So I'm texting her and I'm like, all right, you know, so how is Tony okay? Like, I'm talking about Tony, thinking it's her like son.
Yeah.
Whose girlfriend tragically passed away
can't
at a
leave the
young
house.
age of like 11. I'm
Right.
like, Tony, poor Tony. I was like, how is he? Like, I'm asking so many questions about Tony. So finally, I don't know how the detail came up, but she was like, oh, she was like, yeah, he won't even like leave his pen, and like, and he hardly eats. Like, he won't leave his pen. He used to love cuddling with me, and I was like, wait a second. I was like, Tony's a bunny. She's like, yeah. I was like, his name's. She goes, yeah, his name's Tony Pepperoni. I was like,
Tony Pepperoni's a really good bunny name.
dude, meanwhile, I'm home. It's Saturday. I'm stoned. I'm like not going out. And I'm just like, dude, and I'm being so honest with this lady. I was like, I'm going to be honest. I thought this was your son this whole time. Like, I
you
thought
said
were,
that to her?
Yeah. I was like, I didn't realize Tony was a bunny. That's great. I really want Lilo to have a friend. Because I do. I wanted.
Aw.
Lilo hasn't had one bunny friend her whole life.
Right. Now she's friends with Tony Pepperoni.
Now I got videos of like them kissing and shit. It's adorable.
Really? Let me
Dude,
see.
I'm going to show you.
Tony Pepperoni.
Tony Pepperoni.
Honestly,
Dude, so-
Tony Pepperoni sounds like a dog of a bunny.
He is a dog, bro. He's so cute.
Is he?
He's like black and white, like
Does
speckled.
he fuck?
I mean, he's half the size of Lilo. You know how big Lilo was,
Right.
Look at.
Oh my God.
They're
So you
underneath the chair. They're
Tony
kissing.
Pepperoni sounds like, he's Italian.
Yeah,
he can handle
He's
that.
just
ass.
Italian. You got to zoom in on the bottom right. They're under that chair. I got some pics too, but like that's him like kissing her on the butt. He kisses her butt a bunch. But anyway, so Lilo's pumped and happy. She's got a boyfriend now. And
Wow.
my whole family, like, yes, they were excited, but and listen, don't let me put words in your mouth, Frankie. I feel like there was some emotion involved in letting her go. Because I, first of all, had COVID when this happened. Like, when she hit me up, I had COVID. That's why I was, like, stoned at 9 in the morning. I had nowhere I could even go.
Yeah.
So so I couldn't see Lilo off. I just had to, like, I was in Long Beach, and my family, like, put her in a trunk, and the
Right.
lady drove away.
I just thought of a horrible thing.
I'm terribly not pumped for it, but I'll listen.
Well, you said you had COVID, so you couldn't wish her goodbye.
Right.
Imagine how all those people feel that had to say bye over Zoom.
Oh, my God, man. I
Well,
can
it
attest to that.
translates.
So I can attest to that experience as well.
Right.
Which we can get into in a minute. But long story short, yeah, my whole family's emotional about my bunny. I was I was inconsolable for 2 days. Like, I was like, I felt terrible.
Yeah, but he's going to a good home.
That helped.
You were low-key a deadbeat dad.
I was not a deadbeat dad. I had my moments. But like, just so you know what made
Right.
me
A
really
deadbeat
happy?
dad doesn't, it's
I don't think I was a deadbeat, and this is the reason why. So the woman wanted to know if Lilo was spayed, which she was. But she was like, can you prove it? Like, my last bunny, the girlfriend died because of ovarian cancer, which is when you don't get spayed, this whole thing. So I was like, yeah, you can call the vet that did it. So she calls the vet, and she called me. She's like, I just had to tell you, the vet raved about you. They said you took such good care of that bunny, and that she was like, such a happy bunny. And I was like, woo! It's like, honestly.
Tony Pepperoni's
shocking.
mom, how you doing?
Yeah, news to me. But I was pumped to hear that. So that
Well,
made
that's
it a little
probably
easier.
because he probably came in all charismatic and shit with your hot Italian body, carrying a bunny, that's a thing.
Why
And
does it always come back to my hot Italian body?
Well, we were
with you?
talking about this in the car, and I'm jealous of your hot Italian body
Sure, thanks.
that you were just
Appreciate it.
born with. You don't, you don't work for that.
No, yeah. No, I definitely don't like
Joe,
diet
the
or
other
work
day,
out 5 days a
Joe
week.
did have COVID. We'll get into that in a bit, but he was just like, dude, that was the first time in my life I've gone 2 weeks without working out.
Yeah,
and I was like,
it's true.
welcome to the fucking club, my guy.
Dylan goes, yeah, welcome to the club. I haven't worked out in 2 weeks either. That actually made me laugh so fucking hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Dylan went out Saturday. It was my first time seeing anybody in
So Lilo's got a
10,
good
11
place.
days. Lilo's doing great.
Right,
Easily better than she's been doing over the last 4 years. So she's killing it.
right.
Absolutely killing it. But yeah, dude, the people that couldn't say bye to their loved ones,
Right,
or it
right.
had to be Zoom.
That's tough.
Let
We
me
don't,
tell-
have to, we don't have to go there.
No, this is why we're gonna go there
Oh, okay.
really quick. So my COVID situation. I mean, COVID was
Joe had
shitty,
COVID.
but yeah, I had COVID, and I actually got it like pretty bad, but I was fine. Like, I had a fever a few days. I had some diarrhea for a couple days. Like, I lost my taste and all that shit. It sucked. I was totally fine, but at the end, I got the cough started to come back a little bit. I woke up and coughed into the toilet, and there was blood in it. So I wasn't even panicking, and I called my doctor. I was like, all right, he's probably gonna be like, this is totally normal. He just goes, it's this Asian man, Dr. Yu. Dr. Yu, I was like, hey, yeah, no big deal. Like, I coughed, it's not a bad cough, but there's blood in it. Like, am I good? He just goes, you need to go to the emergency room right now. I'll call an ambulance. Do you need one? I was just like, oh
He said
my
he'll
God.
call an ambulance?
Yeah. He handled me so poor. I was so emotional after our call. I was so calm before when I was like spewing blood out of my mouth. And then the second he opened his mouth, I was like sweating. I thought it was over. I thought
it was over. I texted Joe while I was at work, and it was like noon maybe. I'm like, hey, how's it going, buddy? You finally, because it was like you were at the end of it. I figured my text was going to be like, yeah, feeling better. Went for a walk, starting to get my shit together, like I'm feeling better.
Yeah, your text was like, you kick it yet?
And he just goes, well, considering I'm on my way to the hospital, I'm going to say no. I was just like, fuck yo! We're losing my boy!
Dylan goes, wait, no, really? And I was like, yeah. He goes, why? Spitting up blood. Jeez!
Yeah.
It was like, everybody, it was such a reaction. But like, so I'm on my drive there, and I'm zero music in my car because I'm just like thinking about my life and the things I've never done.
Right.
And I'm like, so I'm literally like, it's all happening.
That's what they say. Your life flashes before your eyes.
It's kind of what was happening.
All
like,
your regrets?
Yeah.
Anything specific?
Everything I've done is just about a regret. But I was like, so it was so weird because I felt physically so fine, but I was like, my doctor made me feel like I was going to die. So I was like, is this how it happens? Like, do you not know you're going to die? Like, you just feel fine and then you're like dead? Like, I was just like, I was panicking. So I'm on my way to the emergency room, and it's an hour drive because I was like figuring I'd have to stay at my parents' place or whatever. I drove far. And the whole way there, I'm thinking like, fuck my family. Like, I should have got the vaccine. Like, they're insane. Like, I'm getting so angry. Frankie called me. Look how pissed he is. Frankie called me, and I like rushed him off the phone. I was like, yo, I'm going to the hospital. All right? I should have got a fucking vaccine. Like, I'm freaking out. So I'm revving myself up the whole drive. I walk in the emergency room doors, and there's this guy in scrubs at the front desk, not a security guard. Maybe a nurse. I have no idea what his job description is. He's got a full shield and shit on. So he's like, all right, what are you here for? I was like, my doctor called you. He prepped you guys. Like, I'm coughing up blood from COVID. And he goes, oh, you have COVID, huh? And he was like, how is it? And I said, like, I guess not that good because I'm here. That was what I said. He heard, like, it's not that big a deal. And he goes on a tear about how COVID is, like, bullshit. He's like, I know, dude. I don't understand why they're pushing the vaccine. It's not a fucking big deal. And I'm sitting there just, like, freaking out of him. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, where
the guy
are
at
we?
the intake department?
Yeah, and he goes...
The first person you talked to in the hospital?
First person I talked to, and he just goes, can you fucking believe... He cursed a couple times. He goes, can you fucking believe that if I take this mask off, I get fired? He had a shield on. He's like, if I take this shield off, can you believe I'd get fired? I was like, yeah, you're in the hospital. I mean, if I took it off, I got fired, it'd be weird. You're like the guy who should wear the shit. Dude, it was just such a weird... So I go from that guy who doesn't believe COVID's a thing,
right,
as I'm there for COVID, to a doctor who basically took 3 hours to get in the room, walks in the room, and just goes, what's up? What's your problem? And I was like, I'm coughing up blood. He's like, you're fine. You look good. Get out of here. And I was like, okay. Nobody seems to care about me.
Yeah. That's,
So.
we were talking about it. I just think that doctor's just like the most fed up
Oh, yeah.
of all time. Didn't
He looked just like you. He really did. He had a mask on. He had the exact same color scheme as you have.
I
like
love that.
slightly red hue.
I come in and
some
I'm just
freckles.
a dick to you.
It was like it looked like you with like a shorter haircut.
That's great.
It was
I
weird.
love that. It was just like, oh, Dylan's coming in, and I'm just like, fuck you, get the vaccine, you bitch.
He was way cuntier. Yeah, and so
He was a dick to you, right?
right. So he was a total dick, and like he never asked to see the blood that I was coughing out. He never asked to see anything. He listened to my lungs for 1 second and told me to get out of there, basically. But when I told him that I was on like my 8th day of COVID, he was like, "Did you get vaccinated?" He said it with a pretty snarky tone. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, no. Like the last guy asked me if I got vaccinated. I said no. He's like, I know. How stupid is this fucking vaccine? And I'm like expecting a similar, just like
You don't know where the line is in this hospital.
There's no line.
Where is the line?
There's no line. So I'm expecting some sort of neutral response. And he just goes, he looks like, he gets like closer to me. And he was just like, why? I was just like, I don't know. I was like, and so that I'm like stuttering, and then my mom, who happened to show up and like barge her way into the room with me, obviously.
Right.
She just goes, no. He already had COVID. And then the doctor was like flabbergasted that I had like a breakthrough case or whatever. And then the whole thing was such an odd experience. I was cross-eyed the whole time. I was like grasping. I just wanted somebody to give me hug me and make me like feel good. But the guy who was telling me I was fine was being an asshole.
Right.
So
also,
I didn't feel
doctors
good.
don't They don't hug people.
No, that guy was
That guy wasn't gonna hug.
He
you.
didn't even emotionally hug me. He didn't verbally hug me. He gave me.
Well, that's a
nothing.
guy who's probably super fed up. He just thinks people need to get vaxxed. He probably listened to your lungs. For the record, you are fine. So he
I
was
am
right.
fine.
He was right.
I'm great. Arguably better than ever.
Right.
Yeah.
So he probably listened to your lungs. There was nothing there.
Yeah, which I appreciate, but don't yell at me.
Yeah, he listened to your lungs, saw they were clear, and then, called you a piece of shit.
Jeez, I thought I was dying
not
45
directly.
seconds ago. Like, get me.
That's on
something.
Dr. U. I'm going to put that on Dr. U.
100%. He set the table for a nightmare.
Dr. U's got to do a little bit better, not inciting fear.
Yeah, not to call out Dr. U, but fuck, man. Like,
Yeah.
I lost weight that day, sweating, like on the way to the hospital.
You were schwitzing.
I thought it was over.
I thought it was over,
I
too.
was texting everybody. I was like, "Can you believe I'm on my way to the hospital?" I was just telling people
Any,
that I was going to the hospital.
of the things you thought of that, you didn't do in your life or you did do in your life, any highlights where you're like, I got to fix this one? Like, did you come out of this experience, Joe, a different person? Or
I
are you
did. I
the
think I
same?
did.
Anything? What about it?
You know, it's funny. Like, in the moment, what I thought, the change I thought was happening was strictly like, I'm just going to get the vaccine. Then, like, the second I was better, like 3 days later, I was like, yeah, I don't think I need it. I didn't actually come close to dying. I was like, I'm good. I'm good. So that was the revelation I thought I had, which immediately I retracted.
Wow.
Yeah. So, no, I guess I didn't change at all.
Are you still on the no vaccine train?
Currently, I'm on the no vaccine train.
Nice.
But only because of all the fucking shit that I've been seeing in the last, 24 hours. I was pretty neutral about it 2 days ago.
Neutral about not getting it or neutral about
Or getting it. I was still like, I'll get it at some point. I'll wait till the summer's over and we'll see. And then all this shit that's been coming out lately with like the Rogan shit and all the things in literally the last 24 hours have made me like, I think I'm all set.
So you're never going to come out to dinner with me in the city then?
That's not true.
Oh, I mean, that's a crime.
You're a crime. Did you see the videos of cops going up to people and asking for papers?
No. Where was that?
I don't know. There was no location. It looked
Frankie?
like New York, but I don't think it was. New
No,
York.
I don't think that takes place till September.
It was
It's September 13th.
It was London.
Oh, it was London. Bro, it looks like dystopian. It's like it's scary. It was weird. It was like battle gear cops, like 20 of them.
Actually, maybe
walking
Australia or the UK, one of them.
It might, yeah.
Same
They're
shit,
both
though.
like
same,
rough
same
right now.
government.
Is it? Yeah, sure. I don't know shit about the government. But it was weird, bro. It
Well,
was like
I saw-
not comfy. I
saw
like
a video of Australia that they went on lockdown for like the 7th time or something.
Well, there was something with New Zealand where there were like riots because they were like keeping them in their home and shit.
Well, there's some countries,
They're like-
we've only done the one lockdown, right?
Right.
We've only done one?
I mean, it was a year long.
No, it wasn't. It was only, technically it was like, what did like the true
Well, they were like 2
lockdown.
weeks, and then it was like 6 weeks, and then it was like 2 months. Like it was.
Well, it was like a
lockdown.
2-month lockdown, but like we've never gone off of lockdown, back into lockdown. Like London went into lockdown recently.
Right.
Well,
now you got Italy. That's like they're like rising up against the government now, like shouting like "Libertà, Libertà," like freedom, because they're getting locked down again or some shit. Everybody's kind of getting locked down again.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any reason for a actual lockdown, but I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if it happened.
No,
The
that's not
Italian protests are about the new mandates, like to use the green card,
Yeah,
for,
the vaccine passports.
vaccine passports, but they're not relocking down. They just are letting
okay.
people do eat food without having a
vaccine
card
passport.
and shit.
That's insanity. That's insane. That's like insane shit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm chilling because I got it.
Right.
But you guys are fucked.
Yeah, but that's not the point. That's not the point. Is like who's
Obviously,
fucked.
it's not the point.
The
but
point is like
No shit.
That's insane. Wait. So before,
I'm better than you, though.
sure, we'll see when your kids have 9 tails. What happens when you give birth to a Pokemon? We'll see what fucking happens.
Pika!
No, but did you see I saw it was a clip from Fox. I saw it on an Instagram page. I only saw like a 30 to a 60-second snippet, so like correct me if anything's wrong here, but I saw a clip where they were saying the next thing that they're going to do is they're going to implant that chip that tells you if you have COVID. It detects COVID within you. Do we think
We're going chips?
that's what they're doing? And I think we on this show, I think we talked about that. How they were inventing a chip that would detect COVID in your system.
I draw the line at chips, dude.
Of course,
I'm not getting a
everybody
fucking
draws.
chip inside me.
So
bro.
so that's the scary thing, though. That's like, so you're going to require a vaccine passport. Then you're going to, so which means you require the vaccine in order to like eat food. So then the next step is then you're required to get this thing that tells you if you have COVID. Who
What
cares?
does the chip tell you?
If you have COVID, it detects it in your system. Is it that
Too much.
important?
It's too much. The vaccines.
right?
I mean, the vaccines, if anything, right now, breakthrough cases are rare is the story, but I'm calling
Bullshit.
heavy bullshit
half the
on
Yankees
that.
have the Yankees have the half the Yankees have the Yankees. Half the Yankees have the COVID again.
Yeah, that's
Dude, a
the
girl,
vaccines are.
my friend who's a nurse,
it's
just got
happening.
COVID. Everybody in her family was vaccinated. They all got COVID. That's like breakthrough cases are extremely
And
common.
you can give it if you have
Just
a
as
vaccine
easily.
and you have COVID, you can still spread it. So the vaccine, I think that we talked about this. I think the vaccine, the only thing that it does is that it pretty much guarantees you won't die.
Right. It guarantees you won't die.
So that's
it,
chill.
though. That's cool.
And that's, and it's still, we talk about vaccines like it's like bad. But
Right.
for you and like us as like young men in our absolute primes,
right. So.
it's debatable.
Right.
But like if you're over the age of 65, it's like everyone, at that age, like if you're older, pretty much everyone should be getting it.
I agree.
The risks
dude, let me tell you.
definitely, the risks of not getting it definitely outweigh, in my opinion, like,
Right.
getting it. Like if I was older, it'd be kind of a no-brainer.
No,
you know what I mean?
I agree. Like, and as someone who had it and had I had every symptom except for a sore throat. I think was the only one I didn't have. But as someone who had it for the full 10 days, like I had the symptoms the whole time, I totally can understand. Like when I was like short of breath, I was like, damn, if I was like 65, like I'm 28 and this sucks.
Yeah.
Like I was fine. It was by no means for me as like intense as like the flu. Like every time I've had the flu, I couldn't get up. Like I couldn't get out of bed. There was none of that. But like the breathing part of it, I was like, damn, if I was older or like smoked cigarettes even remotely regularly, like this, I could see
Right.
being a real problem.
So
Totally
it seems
agree.
like a no-brainer for those people.
Right.
No-brainer. Get the vaccine if you're older.
Right. But there's no.
There's also like, well, we don't have to go there yet. So then it goes to like the passports. It just doesn't make sense because let's say
Doesn't
you're in a
make sense,
restaurant.
bro.
Let's say you're in a restaurant and it's all people with the vaccine. You could still spread it.
You could
If someone
you could
had it-
all spread it to each other.
So what is the point there?
There's no point. That's the thing. It makes no sense. That's where I was saying. I don't think it was on the show. I think when we were just talking, I was just like, the lack of like transparency of how the vaccine works, the virus works, like all the information being politicized and being like held back. It's like just teach it. Like
Do we
explain
think
to
that-
us what's going on.
Because on the same day, which was last week, New York mandated that restaurants and gyms will require vaccines. The exact same day, the New York Attorney General came out and said Cuomo is like guilty of sexual assault. Same day. Do we think, and what's gotten way more coverage than, because it's literally like there's no debate of whether New York should have, like if New York is a liberal city and there's like no debate on whether, most people are just like, yeah, makes sense.
Right.
Vaccine passports. Yeah. Down with that.
I don't know if that's the consensus though.
It kind of is though.
You think?
Like pushing back against it's like a little
It's hard
taboo.
for me. It's hard for me to like understand that that's the way it is in the city because it's so not the same on Long Island. On Long Island, it's like the
Yeah, but
exact
even though
opposite.
when Rogan was talking about it, he's like, people aren't talking about people.
Yeah,
don't-
they're not talking about
Yeah,
it.
like pushback
because you
against.
can't give pushback.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, do we think that the Attorney General dropped that Cuomo thing the same day to cover up all the? Because there's been way more Cuomo sexuality talk.
I'm
Then,
sure
like,
the
pushback about
timing
the
wasn't
vaccine
an
passport.
accident. Yeah,
You
I'm
know
sure
what I
the
mean?
timing wasn't an accident.
Because it hasn't happened yet. It's in September.
What hasn't happened since September?
The mandate starts in September.
Oh yeah, it doesn't happen.
Dude, because
till
you
September. Right.
fucking know that there's some New York restaurant owners who are definitely some like anti-vax people.
Yeah, of course.
Like, and then they have to.
Dude,
not
I
only
would
do
say
they have
most.
to.
I would say most of the restaurant owners
Right,
are
that's
like,
what I'm saying.
"Fuck you."
Yeah.
It's the people who have to eat there that are like, "Yay, let's do it." Vaccine passports.
Yeah.
But like, fuck that. If you're the business owner, they don't give a fuck. They don't want that.
Yo,
They were fighting the lockdown the first time, and they all
Yeah.
went out of business. Remember how well that worked?
Did you guys see that CDC thing that like came out that I saw a tweet this morning, and it was like the CDC COVID operational considerations for humanitarian settings, and it's like their kind of like opinion on how to take care of the virus in the cases, and it basically like I have the whole entire plan, but it basically says like their recommendation is to like put people in camps.
Oh, I did see that. I
It's
did see that.
insane.
What?
It was, but it was basically saying, I think all the high risk people put in one place. Basically, it was like pack a stadium full of like high risk people or something, right? Frankie was talking about
If it, like-
a specific group of people. Like,
They were using the words camps, which just is never good. Never good.
I gotta say, like when I was reading
Normally
the thing, when I was reading the thing, so I saw it
Send me that.
on that girl Isabel DeLuca, I think is her name, right? I saw it on her story.
I saw Candace Owens tweeted it.
Okay, so she retweeted it. She put it on her story. It's like a conservative chick. And I saw her post it. She was like, fucking concentration camps. Like she was kind of bugging. I was like, let me read this. And as I was reading it, it didn't sound like concentration camps, but it was an odd proposition.
It's for the people that are vaccinated or not vaccinated.
It's for non-vaccinated, high-risk people, I believe. It's like shove them all in like a place. Not in like a, you're not going to get cooked. Like they're not going
Right.
to gas you up.
They're not talking about an oven.
Right.
They're talking about what?
Instead of the gas, they just jab you with the vaccine real quick. Nah. But no, I don't know. It
sent
just
it to you
didn't.
guys.
You sent it?
See, my thing with the
I'll pull it
people
up.
over 65 that are not getting vaccinated, it's just Darwinism.
Right. I mean, but
If you don't want to get it and you die, like that's your fucking fault.
Right.
Who gives a fuck about those people?
But it'll never make sense to me to require people to get it though.
Because
Because it's not like smallpox or something where like, or
it
let's
guarantees
go
you
with
won't get it.
polio.
Well, there was a time when I took the vaccine,
Right.
and I was like, I'm not getting COVID, bitches. I watched
Yeah,
a
'cause
clip
that's what
of
you
me
were
saying,
sold on. That's what they
exactly.
told you would happen.
There's a clip from like April when I sent you it. It was when Texas and Florida like were really opening and like all the cases were dropping, and like the Texas Rangers had like the first open capacity game where like everyone was there, and then cases were just like dropping like flies for some fucking reason.
Yeah.
Like those cases, it just don't make, I was guaranteed at the time that if I got the vaccine, I wouldn't be able to transmit it. I wouldn't be able to get it. Like I'm golden.
Yeah.
And both of those things aren't true now.
Right.
I can still get it.
Right.
And I can still transmit it.
So
what
happened?
I just definitely won't die.
Right.
So if I'm
But also at the beginning they were like, oh, and you won't get serious symptoms. That's also not true because somebody else I know who is vaccinated and high risk that got it the same time I got it and had it. My mom's good friend. She said he was like inundated. He had symptoms worse than I had, and he was vaccinated. So it doesn't even. Yeah, he didn't die. Sure, that's obviously very important, but like he still didn't feel good at all for
Right.
10 fucking days. He was fucked. Wait. So this is what it says. This is Candace Owens' tweet. The CDC actually holy shit is her lead. And then she says, the CDC actually put together a document to discuss putting high-risk people into camps to shield low-risk people from them. No, this is not a joke. And yes, every single person who has made a reference to the 1930s Germany is vindicated. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to protect the low-risk or the vaccinated from the high-risk. That makes zero sense. If anything, you're protecting the high-risk from everybody else. But if you're high-risk and you're not getting vaccinated, that's your own business.
I think everything is everyone's business.
Right. If you die, it's your own problem.
Because like right now, according to the news, like Arkansas, I saw has like there's certain places like there are hotspots allegedly. Like allegedly,
They're
Florida
saying Florida's
is
like going crazy right now. Yeah.
Florida's apparently going crazy. Right. Arkansas apparently has only 8 more ICU beds left, and it's like all these unvaccinated people are dying. And in my brain, I'm like, okay,
right,
let them go.
Right.
That's it. They didn't want to do it. You couldn't make them do it. If their family are like, fuck, I want to get it now, and they want to get it, then go for it. But it's like, that's it.
Completely agree.
That's fucking it.
Now what gets on the freaky side, I think you were trying to like wait to bring this up, but I feel like it's the right time to bring it up. I don't know who was on the show, who was on Joe Rogan the other day that he was talking about this with, but there's been like studies on vaccines similar to like the flu shot, like a vaccine that doesn't kill the virus in your system. Apparently there was like a bunch of medical papers published that determined that those types of vaccines, if they're not working properly, like if they don't
kill it,
if they don't kill it and they're not like perfected, they can actually lead to stronger strains of the virus because transmission, like it basically creates a stronger strain of the virus. That would be a huge problem for people not vaccinated. And that obviously seems like it's kind of what's happening because people that are vaccinated are getting the virus like at a pretty alarming rate.
That would be a problem for non-vaccinated people or all people? It
would be a problem for all people, but it would be more of a problem for non-vaccinated people. Because like think about it like this. This is what I'm nervous about.
Okay.
Me, not vaccinated, 28-year-old healthy dude, not worried, but not vaccinated. Right now, people my age don't typically die from COVID. That's cool, right? But if the virus keeps getting stronger and worse because like the vaccine is fucked up and it's, you know, amplifying the incubation time for like these new strains and shit, then wouldn't it then become a more dangerous virus for someone like me? And then who's to say eventually the virus can't just start picking off 28-year-olds and young, healthy people because it gets so strong?
Well, then at that point, you wouldn't even know if it got that strong. You wouldn't know if the vaccine would do anything regardless. I assume that it would help.
But the whole point is that it wasn't helping. This is a fake scenario.
A fake scenario where the vaccine didn't help?
In a scenario where that is happening.
Right.
That the vaccine is not working.
Listen,
and it's making the virus stronger.
We bunker down here and we fucking play Xbox until we get knocked out.
That sounds like a good plan.
Right?
Right. Okay. I'm down for Xbox. Dude, I was actually just thinking recently, like, I don't play video games anymore.
I don't either.
I think I want to get into video games. I want to get a headset and
the
get,
apocalypse,
like,
dude, we come here, we just have fuckboy days until it's all said and done.
Fuckboy days?
Yeah, we just like, I don't know.
Do you know what a fuckboy is?
Yeah, we start being fuckboys.
Do you know what a fuckboy is?
Yeah.
What is it?
I don't know. We just start like shooting guns and fucking ordering pizza all the time. And
do you know what a fuckboy is? Fuckboys are people who like bang hoes all the time.
Well, you know.
You want to bang hoes in here?
No.
Emily, yo, your mans, get your mans.
I'm going to be a fuckboy to my woman. She's going to be here, obviously.
You're not using like current lingo correctly, and it's
is really, a fuckboy very definitively defined?
A fuckboy is defined as someone who like won't. It's me. It's someone who won't commit to a relationship and just keeps banging chicks.
I thought it was just you're kind of just fucking around, like generally. I didn't think it was specific to sex.
No, it's very specific to sex.
Oh,
it's the
Are
only
you sure?
way people. 100% sure. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, then. We'll just have a good time then.
Okay,
I don't know.
Cool.
We'll be good time boys. I don't know. Jesus.
I think we can make that into something else too. You want to be good time boys with me, buddy? We can be good time boys all you want. But what
in
are your
that
thoughts
scenario?
on?
I don't know. That's a lot of. It just makes me really realize that we're not even close to getting out of here.
I feel like we could be done.
In my head, we're smooth sailing out of here. This is what I think. I'm like, get the vaccine if you want to. Don't get the vaccine if you don't want to. Free for all.
Right.
And that's the story. And we all stop talking about it. And if unvaccinated people are dying, that's their own fault. And like, who gives a fuck?
Right. Just give us the fucking information, dude.
What information do you want?
Everything. I want everything.
I think
how does
there's
the
a lot
vaccine
out there.
work? How successful is it so far? Like, I feel like there's
the vaccine is successful in guaranteeing you won't die. Like 99.5% of the deaths happening right now are from unvaccinated people.
I am not arguing with that, but all you hear from the news is that. Then you have to go to like someone like Joe Rogan to suggest the possibility that like something else is happening because like you're not hearing that from like the sources you should be hearing it from.
Well, you can't trust. Those sources are done.
That's my problem.
Those are bad
That's
sources.
what I'm saying. I'm saying give us all the information you have. Like, you know what's crazy? Dude, I saw the craziest commercial yesterday. I've been watching a ton of the Yankees because I've had COVID and I haven't left my house. And I've been watching Mad Yankees. So I've been seeing all the COVID commercials and they're all hilariously ridiculous.
Yeah, they are.
The one with George Bush is one of the funniest shits I've ever seen. It's fucking, he's like, I just can't wait to see the Texas Rangers in a full stadium. Cool. All right. Jesus. It's just ridiculous. But there was one I saw yesterday, bro. I was dying. It was a Bronx local. It was a black woman. And I'm assuming there must be, just based off of the fact this commercial existed, I'm assuming there must be a large percentage of like minorities that aren't getting vaccinated maybe because this commercial was bonkers. It was this black woman. She was probably like 38, maybe low 40s. She wasn't old by any means. And she was like, she must have mentioned that she was black in the first 20 seconds, like 4 or 5 times. Like she said it like 5 times, and I wasn't even watching the commercial. I was like eating frozen grapes, kind of just doing my own thing. And I was like, I heard her mention that she was black like the 4th time. And I was just like, I need
What was
to
the
pay
context?
attention.
She was just like, I'm a black woman. As a black woman?
As a black, she was like, I'm a black woman. And as a black woman, I'm very emphatic on making sure that black people get vaccinated. And then also, by the way, I'm a black bitch. Like, and then by the 4th one, I was like, I'm listening to this commercial.
By the way,
I got
I'm a black bitch.
Yeah, I was like, I gotta pay attention to this commercial. So then she ended up saying,
It did work. She got your attention.
It worked so hard because then this is what like I fucking started howling laughing. Like the commercial was like whatever. It was the same as all the other COVID commercials. But then this lady goes, yeah, and then I have a friend who's a doctor and she's black and she It wasn't even like I went to my doctor and it was like I have a friend who's a doctor and she's black and she told me, and I was like, why are we forcing in that everybody you know is black right now? Like, just give me.
Well, I think they are.
Say.
Rogan said it's an interesting thing that he was saying
wild,
that
man.
the majority of people in New York City that aren't vaccinated are minorities.
What's the reason for that? Because wasn't the
I was at a comedy show and a black woman went on stage and she was just like, hey, any black people in the audience? And like some people made their noise and she was like, right when they came out the vaccine, didn't you think that shit was trying to kill us as black people? And then she went on like a long rant about like how she thought that the vaccine and COVID was like designed to kill black people.
Well,
so that could be a thought in their community.
Well, most of the majority of people in New York that like died from COVID in the beginning were black people. Right. Like, it was a huge thing. It was just every story was about that shit.
It's been every year, like, you know, before COVID was a thing. It's like a pretty known thing that like at least the black majority, like they are.
Be careful though.
No, they're like known to be hesitant in taking vaccines because in the past, like as history, you guys remember like the Tuskegee experiments?
No, but it sounds racist.
Hit us with it, baby.
Well, the Tuskegee, I think it
sounds right.
It was a town somewhere. I'm sure it's still a town, but it's basically the U.S. government came in and said that they were vaccinating them for like, I don't know, like smallpox, but they were actually the males, they were injecting them with syphilis to study the effects. They didn't like understand the disease, and they were like studying, and no one knew what was happening. And they like the papers came out years later, and it was actually like this whole experiment that the fucking U.S. government was doing on like a whole black neighborhood. So
could you fucking
that's
imagine?
Why, you know.
Okay. So that valid. So then to Joe Rogan's point is all these democratic cities are so anti-racist and shit like that. But the people who haven't gotten the vaccine are minorities. And now they're forcing them to get it if they want to like go to a restaurant, go to the gym and enjoy the city. Basically, you have to get the vaccine.
Right.
And they're like forcing these people's hands that they're trying to be like ride for them.
So what are your thoughts on, because I mean like the conservative point of view on like a vaccine passport has been overwhelmingly like, you know, communism, dictatorship, like all this shit. I honestly, in the beginning, didn't really identify with that like school.
Well, I didn't know what communism was for a very long time.
True. Yeah. We had to Google that fast for you,
and I still didn't get it.
You still had no idea.
I was like, dude, Bernie Sanders.
So you're like, so let me get this right. So socialism is this. I'm like, no, we just read what it was.
Yeah. So,
but then after. Now that because that was before it was actually happened. Now they're actually mandating like vaccine passports. They're going to check you in a restaurant, like all this crazy shit. So my question is, what are your thoughts
on that?
On if that is like steps towards, because that's what Joe Rogan's like
it's
analogy was. He goes, it steps towards
right.
mini dictator. And honestly, yeah,
I see it, but it's also like
100%.
very hard for me to. It's super hard for me to see, like, are we really, like, in 20 years, are we going to be in a dictatorship? Like, that'd suck. We still got a lot of life to live.
Yeah, well,
it's hard for me to be like, this is my thing with it all. If the vaccine guaranteed, if you got it, that you wouldn't get any strains and you couldn't transmit it, you were, like, immune.
Totally different story.
You know what I mean? If
right.
the vaccine guaranteed all that
Or
you couldn't
even if
get
it was
it.
like 90% you don't get it or transmit it.
Right.
Even if it was just
there was
90,
remember when they said it was they were like it's 90%.
efficacy.
Yeah.
What the fuck does efficacy
Now
mean? I
these
guess.
breakthrough cases, they're rare, but now they're happening all the time.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's very rare.
It's
no,
not
it's
rare.
not. The whole Yankees got.
I
shit.
shouldn't know if it's rare. I shouldn't know several people.
Exactly.
It should be like,
If
oh, I heard
know,
of one person.
If I know 10 people in the last 3 weeks
It's
that had
not
a
rare.
breakthrough case, then it's not a fucking
It's not
rare
rare.
occurrence. Right.
You know what's rare when like the moon is like, oh, the fucking sun's gonna line up, and you're not gonna be able to see the moon for a second, like, and it only happens like once in every 10 years. That's what rare means.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
You focus on learning what communism is. Everybody the fuck else in the medical community, this is what rare means.
Yeah.
It means it never fucking happens.
Exactly, and it's happening like a motherfucker.
It's happening
so
too much.
If the vaccine was absolutely like guaranteeing you didn't get it, I'd be like, vaccine passport. I would be like, it's more of an interesting conversation.
Right.
Like, I'm like, I understand dictatorship, I understand communism, but like, you know, because New York City, at the end of the day, my question is like, it's ridiculous because can New York City be New York City? We're all on top of each other. Like, it would literally just spread. It's going to spread like a
course it is.
motherfucker.
Of course it is.
So if the vaccine guaranteed there was no spread, I would be like, I think New York City can't be New York City unless
We get it.
We get it because like it would just spread constantly.
Right.
But now you're going to get the vaccine. It's still going to spread. So
then
I'm kind of like, okay,
and-
the vaccine's not doing what it says that it's supposed to be doing.
Right.
So now I'm interested in having some conversations about communism and dictatorships.
Yeah, let's look that up again.
Let's
Google
talk
that
about
again.
it a little bit.
Let's definitely talk about it.
Yeah.
And the other annoying thing is another selling point of the vaccine was like, and I remember the CDC, I think, director came on and said this shit. And she was like, or maybe it wasn't her, so whatever. Don't take that for what it was. But somebody was like, oh, like, if we don't get vaccinated, the virus is going to continue to spread, which means that it's going to continue to mutate, which means we're going to need more vaccines, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, but it's spreading regardless, which means it's mutating regardless, vaccine or no vaccine, which means there's no point in getting the vaccine unless you're afraid of dying.
Right.
Is that crazy?
And isn't
Seems
that kind
logical.
of like what the flu vaccine is? The flu vaccine, like pretty much you get it, and then it's like you could still get the flu, but it's just not as bad.
That's all. And
That's
yeah,
all it does.
It's just not
It
as bad.
It's probably also better at same thing. It probably
I've
not guarantees, but I would. What's the stat on COVID's coming back? It's
I'm dead.
You know, what's the stat on like if you get the flu shot, you probably or have a less chance of dying from it also.
What I haven't gotten the
Probably.
flu in my flu shot in my adult life. I've gotten the flu once a year last 2 or 3 years. And I don't think I ever had the flu before that, actually, weirdly enough, but the last 2-3 years I've gotten it. And I've talked to people because everybody's always like, did you get the flu shot? And I'm always like, oh, no, like I forgot. And they're like, you're an idiot. But then like in that experience, I've talked to people who said that they've gotten the flu shot. I think my manager, Drew, is one of these people. Gets the flu shot every year, but gets fucked by the flu every year. So it's like, what does it really like do? If you're still gonna again, if you're old and you like might die if you get the flu, cool.
I think the flu shot pretty much guarantees you get a milder case.
Sure.
And also the COVID vaccine also like a rarer a lesser case would mean you don't die.
Right.
Like if 99% of deaths are coming from unvaccinated, like it's a lighter case if you're not dead.
100%.
So it is. The
Agreed.
vaccine is definitely doing something.
It's preventing death.
It's preventing death, which is lit. Mad people were dying.
Super lit.
Mad people were dying.
Right.
Left and right.
Also, though, have people been dying recently? No.
In Arkansas and Florida and Texas, maybe.
Maybe.
New York,
right,
we're chilling.
maybe. New York, people haven't died in like 6 months.
Right.
That's obviously
Not
I'm
to the
being
extent that it
hyperbolic,
was.
but- right. Not to the extent
Where it was
the
like-
hospitals are definitely not overwhelmed. But I will say I do know somebody who works in ICU at I forget which hospital, and she said that it's like filling up actually now. The ICU is starting to fill up again. She's noticing with COVID people. But she said people aren't like necessarily dying. But people are definitely starting to go back to the hospital. But again, it's like isn't this what happened last year? The summer came around, the shit chilled out.
Well, let's talk
and
about
then-
let's talk about the vaccine for a second. As someone who got it,
Right.
right? I didn't grow a third eye.
Correct.
I'm not
That'd be
dead.
Dope.
I
Right.
don't have a chip in my body.
Right.
You know, my kids may be Pikachu, but odds are probably not.
Right.
There's probably been some COVID babies post-vaccine. I feel like if they were fucking had 12 heads, we would have heard about it.
Well, I did hear
Oh,
I did hear. No, there's no heads happening. There's no
what
heads.
do you got now?
There's no heads. I'll show you something.
Your
in
brothers,
mouth.
uncles, sisters.
No. I saw another thing. Another snippet I saw from a news network. It had to be Fox. I would assume it was from Fox. I don't know. I was just like flipping through Instagram, but it was a doctor that was talking about studies and what they've found as results of the vaccine. And I'm gonna botch this, but the short of it was that the vaccine, when it enters your body, a large, like 30% of it, if you're a female, like 30% of the vaccine's like matter ends up grouping up in your ovaries, and they just don't know what the effects of that are going to be. But it's like odd that like 30%
need a source there. That's a big claim.
That's what I saw that's what I saw this guy say. It was
That's
a guy
what you
on
saw
Fox.
this guy say. You got it.
It was a doctor on Fox saying that he was doing research on it. That's all I got. I told you it's all I got.
Okay.
I don't know how to cite that source. I don't know who the guy was. I don't even know where I fucking saw it, to be honest, but I know it was, I'm almost 100% sure it was Fox.
Okay.
Yeah, so my point is, though, and you could take that with a huge block of salt, right? But my point is, the whole fact that this vaccine and the virus were politicized is why we're having a big problem.
Right.
Because you have one side who refuses to acknowledge issues with the vaccine, and then you have the other side that's like, they could be telling fully sound science, but like the other side would never believe it because it's split into camps. So like you have just conflicting like ideologies about something that should just be like facts or false.
And that's for those
Fiction.
reasons. That's why I operate in the camp of of you should be able to do what you want.
Agreed.
Get the vaccine, don't get the vaccine.
Agreed.
Like it's but I do genuinely question, like, can New York City come back? Because still offices are not a thing in New York yet.
No.
Still. So like New York City is still
everybody's
largely work from home.
Yeah, but everybody's set to come back in September.
Right,
Like-
but then
like
is that going to
all the
set off
banks,
like huge? Because think of it this way:
Yeah,
like
for
if you're
sure.
on a huge floor, right, and it's like, if you think of like people with COVID with blips, if like 5% of the people, it's like, you know what I mean, and it just spreads like wildfire, and then it's just constantly like, it would almost be impossible to keep people in work. You know what I
Right,
mean?
but could it be-
But people also used to come to work with the flu.
That's what I'm saying. Like
I used to be sick, and my mom would be like, "Get your fucking ass to school, dumbass."
100%. And I would
You
just
can't
like
do that
stay
no
in my
more.
room. Yeah, I know. You
And
can't.
yeah, that's what I'm
Because you're
saying.
gonna kill somebody. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It is. But like, who is? It's only been how long has it been? 16 months or something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever, something like that, right? What if it ends up being like the flu? Like you can't get the flu multiple times in a season, right? You get the flu once a season. Isn't that the way it works? I'm pretty sure that's the way it works. Unless every once in a while there's like a flu strain that randomly comes in. They're like, oh, you might be able to get this one too, but like, who knows? What if COVID is just going to be one of those things where you're just going to get it every year?
Yeah.
And let's not yeah, there's people died from it for sure. People died from the flu. People died from all sorts of stuff. You know who's going to die from it.
Right.
So defend yourself against it. You.
Exactly.
And everybody else, let's just realize maybe this is just a new thing now.
I'm absolutely with that.
So then, like, why
Dude,
are we not in charge?
There's
a lot of
there was
answers to that question.
I'd be getting in a little bit of tats with my fam about like
Tiffs? Little tiffs and tats?
with the like mainstream news coverage of COVID, and they're like, no, it's like, and I'm like, no, it's like how the regular news, like this is why people call it fake news, like how they portray COVID is that it's like this fucking crazy ass disease that will fuck you up or will kill you. And I sent my mom an example, like it was NBC News, like regular Channel 4 NBC News, and it was like a young guy, he was like 35, and it was the thing was called Delta Variant Survivor Tells Story, and it was basically like, I was so sick with this, and I had the vaccine and I still had I can't imagine. I'm like, well, first of all, can we talk about the fact that this guy was in the hospital with the vaccine, but we'll just let that one slide for a hot sec.
Right.
And I'm like, calling this man a survivor is a little bit of overkill because it has a 99.4% survival rate.
Right.
So like, if you jumped off a 20-foot cliff into some water when everyone was doing it, there's a 0.6% chance you're going to catch an edge, fall on your head, and fucking crack your shit open and die. you know, but if I jumped off and did like a pencil into the water, I wouldn't pop up and go, I'm a survivor of a cliff jump.
Right.
You know? It's
Right.
not, he didn't survive shit.
Right.
He was sick.
Exactly.
That's
It's
it.
like this weird alarmist approach at
Yeah.
talking about it. Like that. So that black
You know why
lady
they do
who-
it, dude? So they can control you.
No,
Control.
I mean that.
Fear-based mind control.
I mean, it kind of is what it is. I mean, if what
the
else is it?
muzzles, bro.
Break the fucking chain. No, but like that black lady who mentioned she was black 11 times, when she was explaining in the commercial her experience with COVID, she goes, I had COVID and it was terrible. It was like having the flu 10 times over. Those were her words.
Maybe
having
it was,
the flu
though.
10 times over. Okay. But no, it wasn't. It wasn't having the flu 10 times over.
But there's definitely some cases where it could be terrible.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's not having the flu 10 times over,
Right.
though. That's absurd.
Right.
Like, you're not. She was like reading off a fucking piece of paper.
Right.
It was like insane.
I feel like the flu 10 times over is death.
It's definitely death.
I don't know if you survive the flu 10 times over.
You don't. There's no way. Dude, I feel like when you get the flu, at least the times I've had the flu recently, I had like 104, 105 fever, like 2 days in a row. And that was pretty much the extent of it.
Right.
Like I was really, really sick for like 2-3 days. And then I was like, fine. But like the 2-3 days I was sick were so much worse than what I had with COVID. Not even close. But like COVID sucked. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
COVID sucked. Totally sucked. And by the way, losing your sense of smell and taste, oh my God,
Yeah,
was
I
such
caught
a
Joe
wild
on a
experience.
FaceTime and I was like, hey, buddy, what are you doing? He's like, dude, I'm burning a lemon. I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I saw on TikTok that if you burn a lemon and then you just shove the shards in your nose, like you can kickstart your senses. And I was on the phone with him for like 20 minutes and he's just like setting this lemon on fire. He's like, yeah, you're supposed to blacken it. And he had this black lemon and he's like sniffing it. I'm like, is it working? He's like, fuck, it's not working.
It kind of did work because it did kind of kickstart me starting to get my smell back because I could smell the smoke. Like the smoke was like tragically bad smelling. But the weirdest thing I experienced, did you lose your senses when you got it?
I only had a fever and a cough.
Okay, because I had it once before and I only had like a raspy like throat for a few days. That was the only
Let's just
symptom I had.
clarify, he didn't ever have it.
I mean, I tested positive,
Didn't have
but I
it.
had like no symptoms.
Oh, the first time.
the first time.
He didn't have it.
I probably
slept in
had
a
it.
bed with him.
Yeah, but
didn't.
you had it too, and you got the rapid test, and both of our rapid tests came back negative, and my PCR came back positive.
I just don't want to lie to the audience. He didn't have COVID
I
the
tested.
first time.
My PCR tested positive. Anyway, so my point has nothing to do with that part of the story. But when I hadn't experienced losing my smell or whatever. Once I tested positive for COVID, I was like really nervous to lose that because I eat a lot. And I was like, that would suck because it could last like a month, 6 weeks, like a long time. I was like, fuck, I hope that I don't lose it. So I kept like putting things in my mouth to see if I could still taste them. And I was fine. Like for a few days, I was like, oh yeah, I'm good. Then I go to smoke my bowl. I told you this. I go to smoke my bowl and I'm like not even thinking. I'm just like, I just had like dinner. I was like, I tasted it, I thought. So I go to smoke my bowl and I'm like, what the? It's like, I'm like smelling it and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm smoking it, and I'm like, it just tasted like Listerine strips. It tasted like I put a Listerine strip in my mouth. Every time I smoked, it was like fresh, minty fresh breath.
That's an upgrade in my opinion.
It was insane. I ended up getting so ripped because I was just like, no way. Like, I just kept trying and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, what is going on? I thought I might have like left a piece of gum in my bag of weed or something. I was like, did I spill Listerine? But I was like, I don't own Listerine. Like, I don't get what's going on. I was freaking out. I could not understand it. And then I was like, damn, like, here we go. Then I lost my taste the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucked.
That's funny. Frankie,
But it was
question
cool.
for you. Where are you at on like this being communism dictatorship?
That was a dumb question.
My mic was off. Hey, look where we are.
But I want to understand this point of view.
You will find me in Texas. Hey, you live in New York City.
Right?
How could you get to a restaurant?
What do you mean?
How can you get into a restaurant right now?
Well, right now we're still So yeah.
There it is. We're there. I don't have anything to fucking argue.
So we're there.
We're
right?
there. I think so.
So we live in a dictatorship. In your brain, we are living in a dictatorship.
Listen, all the things I want to talk about will rip you guys right off of fucking YouTube.
Right,
I
we'll
swear
just
to God.
battle you. We'll just battle
I don't
you.
think. I
No,
don't know
it's
if
not even about battling. I just want to yeah.
I don't know if I care. I don't think it'll get ripped off.
It definitely
and honestly,
won't get ripped off.
We haven't recorded in 4 weeks. We normally have 40 viewers.
Also,
let's push the boundaries.
If
a
it
little.
got ripped off, that would further enhance the fact that we live in a dictatorship because we're simply posing an
Of course.
opinion.
Exactly.
We're by no means a reliable source of information or a professional that should be respected in the sense of giving
Right.
advice about this topic.
Right. So if the first 30 minutes of this didn't tell you that,
Right.
that's a fact.
Right.
The only fact here is that we're full of shit.
Never been more confident about something in my life.
So, Frankie,
Hey,
so what do you think? We're in a dictatorship already?
I mean, yeah, I think so.
I think we're at
there
the starts of it.
for sure.
Where does
think
it go, though?
dictatorship
Where does it go, though?
Dictatorship. It's weird because like the genuine definition of a dictatorship would be like one person having all the power. Right now, it depends what state you live in,
Put it this way,
which is insane, but it's true. Like so, you know what I'm saying? Like you go to Florida, you don't have to wear a mask or show a vaccine passport. It's like illegal. DeSantis made it illegal,
put it this way, like you look at
which is a bold move in the other direction.
Yeah, it's a crazy move.
Yeah.
I think it was like if you're a teacher who like says people to wear masks, he'll fire you or something.
Yeah. I would also err on the side of being like bold strategy, but I get his motivation. I don't think that was necessarily. I think if you want to wear a mask, maybe do it.
Yeah.
But don't make me.
Yeah.
You know, like that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Leave me the fuck alone.
The one thing for me is like, I draw the line at the fucking kids, you know? Like, why do the kids need to get vaccinated? It's like what? At this point, we have so much stats. It's like if they had the data to push that like children have any way of like getting anyone sick, they would be throwing it down our throats. They don't. Yet
But
it's
even
like,
if
you can't go back to school unless you.
But
and
even if
they
the
have
kids could transmit it, which I think they can. I think they can transmit it. Even so, you can transmit it with the vaccine.
But the way
so
that they're
who
saying,
cares?
but the way that they explain, they're like, oh, they could transmit it, and then that makes you think, oh, it gets into their blood, and then they're sneezing. It's like, no, their definition of them transmitting it is, oh, it could physically, a particle can get on their nose, and then they could blow it out somewhere else, and they could hit an eyeball. It's like, come on,
wait, no, wait.
Yeah.
You're telling me that their definition of a child transmitting COVID doesn't have to do with them getting asymptomatic COVID and then breathing on somebody and giving them COVID. You're 100% sure
Wait,
about
I'm
that.
so confused.
Really?
Everything
When
I've
you-
read.
Did you understand what was said?
Not really.
Okay, so what I was saying was that I think that they have said that children can spread COVID. Like they can get it asymptomatically and then transmit the virus. He is saying that their definition of why they say children can transmit it doesn't have to do with them contracting the virus and giving it to people. It has to do with them like literally getting like a droplet on them and then someone else somehow ingesting that droplet off of like their arm or some shit.
Or like them
Well,
sneezing.
it's a
and pushing.
respiratory disease.
Right, but he's saying that they're
Well, kids are gross and disgusting. Like, what are you going to do? You can't keep germs off of kids.
My point is, you would think, you can't keep germs off of kids.
I've never heard.
But
I've just
wouldn't
never
you
heard
think
that before.
that meant if they could transmit it, they can transmit it because they had it, not because anybody could carry it and put it on a
Right.
thing. Like seems like weird data to collect.
Yeah, I don't know if I buy that at all. This just sounds so flat and stupid. I can't.
It seems like a flat Earth argument.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, but you might be able to do this and then hopscotch and then it land.
The one
inside
thing
of
that everyone's always like, the kids. What about the kids? The kids. And I think you see that in some places, the ICU beds are filling up when kid hospitals is apparently what is happening in some places. Apparently,
I have not heard that, but that seems would be shocking to me if like children were getting rushed to the hospital at an alarming rate right
can
now.
we get a fact check on
Yeah.
that? I'm pretty
Frankie,
sure
can
that's
you Google
happening.
that? I haven't
But one
heard
of
that,
the
but
things
that's
that
crazy.
people are. The New York Times just reported it. That I immediately was like, this is fucking bullshit. Was that it was literally like, COVID is something to be afraid of for children because of long hauler COVID.
NBC posted it. You're right.
Long hauler COVID, and all the things that can. And it was basically an article saying like kids can get long hauler COVID and documented these like random anecdotal stories of kids having like depression, anxiety, and concentration problems and headaches with long COVID. And I'm like, this isn't what. And they cited no data. And then actually, Crystal Ball from breaking points, like the old. I was like pissed off about it because like I obviously deal with a ton of long, and you know my take on what that is, and she basically was just like, this is fucking total horseshit. Like it's literally just all anecdotal stories. Granted, these things may be happening to these kids, but there's like no real correlation that it's like like COVID is causing
You're giving
these
it a
things.
fucking title. And
yeah,
you're,
so like New York Times is like just being like, well, there is something to be afraid of for kids, like long haul or COVID. They're just like fear mongering.
Yeah, it's like fucking ADD. It's like everybody thinks they have ADD because now there's a drug that helps with ADD. Like,
and you don't think your kid's gonna be like depressed, anxious, and have concentration problems after being ripped out of school and thrown into a traumatic living situation, having to be home 24/7 with no fucking interactions? You don't think that's gonna weird him up?
Right, you're gonna fucking strip him of all his socializing in the peak of his social development in life, and he's not going to be fucked up in the brain?
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
It has nothing to do with COVID. It has to do with the times.
It has to do with the times.
Get back to normal. He'd probably be fine.
He will be fine.
But what is this thing? Did you see the thing about the kids in the hospital?
Yeah, it's like a NBC. It says it's the Louisiana. But
what is
there's no like, I don't know. It's
what does it say?
Just says we spoke to a doctor and their Children's Hospital in areas seeing a surge in COVID cases are experiencing the same pattern. More children are coming in with COVID symptoms just ahead of the start of the school year.
Okay, so that's not saying that they're filling up the hospital beds. It's a fucked up headline that makes you think kids are dying now, and they're not. Jesus.
If it's a 99.5% survival rate for people under the age of 35, everyone under the age of 35 needs to just be out and do normal things, and then that's it.
There's a 99.9% survival rate for getting a splinter, but there's a 0.1% chance you got a splinter with like tetanus in it and you're going to die.
Right.
Uh-oh. Are we going to fucking...
Not touch wood anymore?
Yeah, are we going to watch the table, guy? Like, what are we doing, dude?
The problem for me is like, also like just like the media in general, it's like, okay, yeah, anyone, like, the more you scare the shit out of everyone, the more they sit home and watch your program. So why would I believe any of the shit that you shove down my throat?
Right.
Of course.
Because we took the red pill.
Is that what the red pill, blue pill is?
The red pill is
I thought it was from the Matrix.
It is. But
it was Democrat and Republicans?
No, that's not. It has nothing to do with Republican.
What is it?
So the Matrix is about basically like, have you ever seen the Matrix?
I saw it when I was a kid and it went way over my head.
The moral of the story is basically like, we're not, like, the real world isn't real. It's all controlled by other shit, basically. So if you take the red pill, you know the truth and you know that, like, it's all fake. If you take the blue pill, you just go back to being ignorant and, like, living your life honky-dory and whatever. So I guess the movie was built on red and blue, sort of, written that way. But that's not really, it has nothing to do with, like, politics. It just happens to, like, lean that way.
Okay.
Yeah, so it just basically means that realize that, like, everything you hear on the TV is propaganda and it's all bullshit and just think for yourself type of thing.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't see it yet.
Unless you want to go get a cheeseburger in the city.
Right.
Can't think for
God
yourself.
forbid you want to get a taco. Not today.
You can't think for yourself and get tacos.
My God. I can't believe that's where we're at, man. I can't believe it. Have you seen the...
I'm telling you, this Cuomo stuff blew it under.
Good timing, baby. Yeah, nobody's arguing about... Yeah, but that's going to blow over in a day. Like tomorrow, people are going to be like, all right, well, Cuomo's gone in 2 weeks.
When September is rolling around... And like the vaccine passports there was a New York City protest for vaccine passports.
Yeah, there's going to be way more, bro. I would argue probably there'll be more. You don't think? I mean, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I think it'll be a big thing.
Do you guys feel so strongly about it that you would protest?
No, I don't protest shit. I mean, if you put me on lockdown again, I might move, but I don't think I'll protest. Yeah. If you put me on lockdown for another like couple months, I would probably move to Florida. I think I would.
I honestly don't see lockdowns as possible at all.
I would agree. I just see no reason for them, so I agree with you. But if they were to do that, I'm gone. I'm not dealing with it. I'm not doing it. I went completely insane.
Yeah. So
like socially. I said it to you.
Nuts, dude.
I had like a mini panic. I think it was you I was talking to. I was like, if I get put on lockdown again and I'm single, I'm killing myself. For real, dude. Like, fuck this last year. I'm good. I'm out of here, dude. I'm gone. I'm going to the Cayman Islands. They probably don't have a lockdown. Maybe they do. I don't know. I'm going somewhere though. Fuck this. No way. No fucking way.
Should we move away from COVID talk?
For sure.
Yeah, I guess.
Is there anything else?
It's been
how long have we been recording for? Out of curiosity.
Hour 5.
Really?
Wow.
What?
Wow.
Sorry to our listeners if you didn't want to listen to an hour of COVID talk, but like Joe literally had COVID, and I feel like since the last time we recorded, like there's been so much COVID shit.
It's been all COVID shit. Yeah. Damn. That's crazy. Hour and 5. That flew. I missed you.
I have so much more to say, too.
I know. I was so reserved during that whole thing.
I'll say this story real quick, and then we can maybe go back to it. I got called a faggot in Long Beach.
Wow. So
You
did
were there.
I.
You were there.
When did you get called a faggot?
I got called. So it was honestly kind of hilarious, but so I was sitting on the balcony. We went to a block party.
Yeah, we
and
did.
it was a popping party. There was mad people there.
Joey blacked out.
Joe blacked out.
Yes, he did.
First time coming out of the crib.
Yeah, my tolerance was not there.
Right.
It was not
And
there.
we were all sitting on the porch, and Shannon McWilliams was like, there was like kind of food there in the beginning. There was like heroes and shit, but then it like turned into a straight up party, and it was like, I don't know. I wasn't really thinking of food, but I was like hungry. We didn't eat dinner. I was
we
fucking
didn't eat-
hungry.
Yeah, I know. I blacked out.
So Shannon McWilliams was like, "Oh, dude, there's Sam's mom made some meatballs, and they're
yeah, I
sitting in
saw
the
that.
kitchen."
I remember this.
And I was like, "There's meatballs in the kitchen?" And I saw like Sam's mom. So there was a couple parents there, and Sam's mom looked like a classic Long Island mom. And if there's one thing Long Island moms know how to do, it's make some fucking meatballs.
Goddamn right.
And I was like, "I'm going to eat some of these meatballs." Are you kidding me? So I walk right into the kitchen. There's like people hanging out. I have no fucking clue who they are. And I was like, "Yo, do you guys know where the meatballs are?" And it was Allie's youngest sister and her friends. And they're like, "Oh, yeah, they're right in there." I was like, "Oh, fuck yeah." So I was like, I grab a fork. I open the thing. It's literally just a huge thing of meatballs with
was a
like sauce and shit.
yeah.
It looks fucking awesome.
It looked good.
It looks sick. So I fucking jab a meatball with a fork and just toss it down the gullet. And then they were like, "Oh, what do you rate it?" I was like, "Oh, it's an 8.5. And we're like bullshitting whatever about the meatballs. And there was another kid there.
Rob.
Oh, it was, I didn't know.
I know him. Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, bro. He was fucking hilarious. He's like, "Bro, I've never seen anyone eat a meatball like that. You didn't even chew it. You just swallowed it, bro. You just swallowed that ball, bro. What are you doing?" And I was like, "What?" And while this kid was doing it, he was mouthing a fucking huge bag of Smart popcorn.
He was carrying it around the whole party. He ate the entire party
And
size.
I was like, "Bro, what are you doing critiquing me on my meatball technique? You're housing." I'm like, "This is some nice shit right here. I'm having homemade meatballs. You're eating Smart Pop, bro. Get the fuck out of here." So I leave whatever, and I keep going around, and the kid is literally like telling people, like, I'll walk past him and be like, "Oh, this is the kid, the meatball kid. Come here." And he's like, "This kid just ate a meatball. I've never seen anyone do it. He just swallowed it to the back of his throat." And I was like, "That's how you eat meatballs, bro. How do you eat meatballs?" He's like, I don't know. I was like, "It was a small meatball, swallowed it, no problem." And then we do it again the third time. And he just straight up was just like, "This kid swallowed these balls like he's a fag. He's a faggot." And I was just like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, no need to go here.
Dude, and that's exactly when I walked up.
Right.
You were over the bowl.
Yeah.
And he was just like, "What are you, a faggot?" Like,
Oh,
and
that was earlier.
And
This
he
was-
was because he called you a faggot in front of my face.
Oh, did he?
Oh yes, we were together, and he was like eating. He had one meatball and he was biting it. He was like taking these little bites, and I was like defending you. I was like, "What? You take multiple bites to eat a meatball?
Right,
like,
right.
He's not a faggot." Like, and now I'm using faggot, and I'm like, there's like 50 people around. I'm just the word
Well, at
became
that
so
point,
cavalier.
honestly, the kid was kind of giving me like hardcore homophobic vibes, where he was
Very.
just like, I haven't gotten called a faggot like that since like 7th grade.
Yeah.
And I was a kid who got called faggot a lot.
Yeah.
I got called pussy a lot and faggot a lot all the time.
Yeah.
And I was getting like hardcore like bully vibes, but it was like, I don't know why it was funny. And then I just was like, I'm going to lean into this and get really weird with this right now and
Oh,
freak
no.
this kid out. And I was like, "Yeah, bro, what of it? You should see what I could do with some balls, bro. You should see what I could do with it." And he was like, "Huh?" And I was like, "You should see what I could do with your dick, dude." And the kid was like, "What the fuck?" And he just like weirdly, he just like was like, "Okay," just like weirdly walked away. I was like, I
Dude,
won that battle.
That is such a Long Beach guy. Like, Long Beach guys are just like that. Like, they're like stuck in 2007. Like, it's
Yeah.
like a very bro-y, macho, like blue collar kind of a dude. And like watching you did mentally like fuck him. Like that whole
Well, I
time.
told him I would suck his dick. at the end.
Yeah, it was genius, dude. It was genius. It was the only thing that could
I
have
was like
diffused that
yeah,
immediately.
exactly.
Like, it's you saying, "Yo, watch me suck your dick." Like, the kid had no idea what was coming. He was just like, and like just like 180 and
Yeah, he
walked
just-
away.
yeah, exactly.
He like lost. He was
Yeah.
like defeated.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
It was-
chef's kiss.
Yeah.
On the meatballs and on your comeback.
You know what's funny? He called me it so many times that I was like, this is just gonna keep happening. I'm gonna need a comeback at some point. And I was like, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna suck this kid's dick. I know that'll weird him out enough to leave me the fuck alone.
Bro,
And sure enough, it did.
It was perfect. It was perfect. And that kid, so when I met that kid for the first time, I was at Minnesota's.
It was like really lighthearted though.
No,
The whole
it was all
we were
very
all cracking the fuck
Yeah, we were
up.
all cracking up. He was shit faced.
Yeah.
You weren't, but it was great.
Yeah.
And when I met that kid, all of my friends, and they were all girls, they were just like, "Yo, you just this kid, really nice kid, but he's just wild. Like, don't take anything he says seriously. He's crazy." And I was like, "Okay." And that's exactly it. Like the kid is just outlandish.
Yeah. It was,
Oh, you pretzel to hit that ass with the dick swallow. You're like, "I'll swallow that dick." He was like, "What?" You were like, "Sup?" And he was like, "Ah."
I was like, you heard what I said.
He was like, "Don't swallow my dick." Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, really quick, while we're on the topic of that party, Fazio, our number one fan of the show, has COVID right now.
You got an outer like that? Damn.
Fuck yeah. Everybody knows. All of Long Beach is running rampant with COVID. Like, everybody I know in Long Beach is getting it.
Dirty
has
beach
gotten
people.
Yeah, dirty beach filth. Yeah, it's gross. But yeah, shout out to Foz, who's been asking for a new ep. She's like bored. In her
really?
bed. She's like, "Where's the new ep?" I was like, "I don't know." So yeah, what up?
Here we are.
Just want to give a quick shout out. Yeah, I mean, I can't believe we just recorded an hour on COVID. I honestly
I knew
didn't expect
it was gonna. You want to talk about Cuomo for a little bit? Nothing really to
Yeah.
say. He resigned today. That just feels like
No,
history.
there is something we need to talk about.
Oh,
though.
right.
Frankie, did you heard him say the line? I was sent from at least 10 people a meme of Cuomo. Cuomo on, like, it was a Fox News fucking, like,
Box.
thing. And the bottom headline was, "Cuomo, I'm not perverted, I'm just Italian." And everybody sent it to me. Shout out Hogan. Like, Hogan was the first one. I was fucking dead, dude. I was dying when I was reading it. But he just come out and flat out say that? Because that is truly hilarious. Because honestly, Italian people have been saying shit like that ever since, like, Me Too happened. And, like, even the Cuomo thing. Like, even, like, the most conservative, anti-Cuomo Italian dudes are like, yeah, like, fuck Cuomo, he should resign. But, like, he really didn't do anything that bad.
Yeah.
Like, everybody
But
kind
my
of
mom
says that.
still to this day stands on the side of like he didn't do anything.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people do. But, like, you know, I'm sure there's plenty of argument to be had. But, like, the Italian way of life, in many ways, has been attacked. In COVID, you couldn't say hello. You couldn't kiss people hello. There's no handshake. There's no hug. I hug and kiss everybody.
Right.
I'm not trying to fuck everybody.
Right.
Wink. But I'm not.
See, that's what gets you in trouble.
I know, that was a joke. No, but for real, it hit right here because it's just so funny. All of my relatives have been like, "What? Like, you can't kiss anybody hello anymore. They're gonna take you to court."
Yeah.
Like, then Cuomo literally just resigned.
That's dude. When
because
you, it's like when we were at that party that one time, and we were saying hello to people, and like when I've said it a million times, when we go into a room and Joe's leading the charge, he'll fucking kiss people on the cheek, hello, hug everyone, and I'm like. I'm just meeting people for the junior time. I'm not even going to remember them for the rest of my life. I don't even need to shake their hand.
Yo.
I just need to give the room a good, "What's up, everyone? I'm Dylan, and I'm Golden." And Joe's going over and kissing cheeks and shit. And we were in Central Park, and Joe was doing that. He did it like fucking, what's that game called where you tap everyone on the head? He was like saying
Duck,
hello
Goose.
like Duck, Duck, Goose, and like kissing everyone hello one by one. Stranger kissed her right on the fucking head. She was sitting down. He reached down to like give her a hug. She had no clue what was going on because she was probably Canadian or some shit. And Joe just smooched her on the top of their head. It's coming to bite you in the ass
No,
when you
that-
run for office.
That will never bite me in the ass. That was beautifully executed. That whole hello. It's so
that Fox headline was fake.
It was.
I think so.
Are you sure?
That's an insane.
Because that's an awesome
His
headline.
whole argument, though.
Barstool
Cuomo's-
just said if it is fake, let's just run with it, but they're not sure.
I hope it's real.
I think his
really do.
whole defense was like,
I'm an
this is all
affectionate guy.
misunderstood. Like,
Right.
you know, I was born in an era, and like the way I am, I'm very like touchy feely. I kiss people.
But that's
hello,
also an
and,
easy cop out for
Of
like
course.
the things that people did say. He did, even, like the way the women described it like it was definitely a lot of them felt embellished on, but like
Embellished?
right, like they embellished, like they kind of exaggerated a little bit.
Oh,
To make it sound a little worse and more like
Right.
conniving than it was. But even so, like a lot of the stuff he did, even it's still less innocent than like I'm affectionate in Italian. You know what I mean?
Right.
When you're hugging your like 21-year-old intern for like 11 seconds, it's just a little creepy.
Right.
Doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? But it's so funny, like the juxtaposition.
Quote my mother. She said, "If there ain't no penetration, it ain't assault." And I was just like,
That
That's
should
a-
never be
was like-
spoken in public.
I was like, "Ma, that's a take."
That's a hot take. If there's no
said that to
penetration,
my-
it's not assault. Tell that to your titties. I'm about to squeeze Dylan. Like, what up, Eva? You want me squeezing Dylan's titties? That's assault, brother.
The reason that she said that is because my mom said, like, in New York City, you know how our parents are always talking about, like, New York City in, like,
Being
the
like
70s and the 80s.
war zone.
They were just like, you have no clue how bad it was. Like,
But you don't.
You don't. You don't. And my mom said that when she would go on the subway, like, it'd be so jam-packed and people would just, like, come by and, like, squeeze your boobs, squeeze your...
Yeah, that makes it okay.
Just like scoop your vagina. Like my mom said, like crazy shit would just go down. She was like, I was like, well, that feels, you know.
it was always
I was like, I
wrong.
know that happened to you, but like, it doesn't make it chill.
Yeah. Hey, Eva, I don't know if you have a weird, like, nostalgic yearning for that time in your life. I don't want to speak for you. But that's not okay. It was never okay.
It was
That
never okay,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, don't let anybody touch you. I will kill them because you're my second mom.
Right.
It's
But the,
so
the
what-
Cuomo shit is,
It's so funny, dude. It's great. Well, not funny, but that
Right.
part of it's funny. It's also with me and you. We were talking about like Irish exits the other day, like the juxtaposition between my approach to hello and goodbye at a party
Can't do
and your Dylan will find the 2, maybe 3 people closest to him, be like, "Yeah, I'll see you later," and then I'll be like, "That's good enough," and he'll just leave. I've never,
dude,
I,
I
never
almost
do it.
Irish goodbye-ed you on Saturday.
I would have fucked you up.
Yeah.
That would have been.
Remember when you
so
texted
rude.
me and you were like, dude, where did you go?
You left. Didn't
I
you?
left the party, yeah. Because I was
saw
just
you
like,
walk back in from the fucking garage
I only
door.
came back because you texted me. You were like,
Well-
where did you go? Because I was like, all right, I'm going to leave this party. But I was like, you know what, first, like, I'm just going to, like, take a walk.
You
and-
can't Irish goodbye your only friend at the party. Like
I thought it was
going
gonna
to
be funny.
Dylan.
I thought it was gonna be funny.
It would have
If I
been.
texted you and I was like, "Hey, about an Irish goodbye," and you'd been like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm dead serious. My dad just picked me up." That would have been hilarious.
It would have been.
I think it's a funny thing to do now. Like I just did it. I just
what
did it
if,
to a
like-
party the other day. It's funny.
It-
I told
it's-
one person. Like I said goodbye to like one fringe person where it's like they're not my immediate friend. You know what I mean? Like I'll say goodbye to you. I would say goodbye to like.
Apparently not. You won't say goodbye.
I would say goodbye to you. I would. But then, like, if we're in like a crew of like my good friends and then like fringe friends where it's like people kind of I know, but like not really, I'll go up to the fringe friend and be like, "It was good seeing you. I'm going to Irish goodbye everyone else so you have this information now," and then just dip. So, like, I put it on them. So if people like, did Dylan leave? Like, that one person's like, "Yeah, he told you he was going to Irish goodbye." So it's like, it's a fun joke.
Is that a fun joke, or
It
is
is for
that
me, 'cause I
social
just-
anxiety?
Yeah, it's social anxiety, but it's a fun joke.
But like, fight through it. Like saying goodbye is beautiful. You get to see who actually liked you at the party. It's like the best part about goodbye. It's like you say goodbye and they're like, "Oh no, shit, you leaving?" Like, yeah, makes you feel good on the way out because you were such a delight to everybody at the party.
Yeah, maybe.
Yo, did I show you this picture? I definitely didn't. You're gonna shit. So there were these. So we've spoken about this kid before. Me and Dylan went to a party once in Long Beach, and there was this red-headed kid named Pat there.
Right.
And he was at this party on Saturday. And he was like our fucking boy. Like we had vibed with him so hard. So we were all so excited to see each other at this party. And there were 2 other redheaded kids at this party. You were gone at this point. And
I became boys with another redheaded kid while I was
yeah,
there.
I have a picture of him in front of me right now. And I don't know I think it was Blacked Out Joe, but I think I went up to, there were 3 redheads. And I went up to them because I was happened to be talking to all 3 of them. And I was just like, "Guys, I know we're in the middle of a conversation, but I got to take a picture of you 3. And I took like 50 of these pictures. I have 50 of them. I just kept going click, 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 click.
Our man's on the left is so sunburned. Were
He
these
took-
kids
and
friends?
They had never met each other before. Never met each other.
Should
And
have grammed that and said, "I met 3 redheads this weekend."
bro, I was dying.
That's
Me
mad.
and this kid in the middle went to Jetty until 3 a.m.
Nice.
Me and that kid. Never met him, ever. Met him taking this picture.
That's fun.
Yeah, it was good times.
Fuck yeah. Should we
Yeah.
wrap up there?
Yeah, let's wrap it.
All right. We're back. We're off next week because I'm going on vacay, but then we're back.
Then we're back again. Yeah, right.
And
sure.
fuck yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Miss you guys.
Miss you guys too.
It's been real.
It's been mad real.
Have a
Later.
sick week.
Peace. I can't believe how that hour went.
Me neither. It was fine. I like.